Good morning all. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever the hell you are. Every now and again, I get something come along that it comes across to me as such a serious thing that I want to take a serious tone, and then I'll get moaned at for not doing the beeps, right? I'm not doing the beeps. Okay, I think this is serious, and I think it needs us to address it with a serious mind. We are all aware, those of us that follow my YouTube, that the institutional capture by extremists, hard left extremists and nutters and communists and all the others who are, who've lost the bloody plot throughout our institutions is a given now, sadly. That we have a very dangerous situation which is growing by the day. The civil service, the universities. We've seen some things in this area move forward. For example, the government coming forward and talking about UCU and what's happening with them and their pushing of terrorist propaganda about Hamas. And then Edward Malnick, who is writing on the 4th of November in the Telegraph, brings us the following. And I hope it will give you pause for thought. I'm teaching my folk today. And this is all that's on my mind at the moment, so I have to get rid of it because I've got to, get ready for the warrior teachers. But this needs to be heard. Met Police Advisor led from the river to the sea chant. Now, for those of you that don't know, from the river to the sea is a signifier. It's what's called a signifier. It alludes to and it signifies to the eradication of the Israeli race. The Israeli people. That's what it calls for, the eradication of the Israeli people. That's why they say from the river to the sea. Lawyer Atik Malik, who chairs official advisory body for Scotland Yard, instigated offensive slogan. A hard left activist who was filmed leading chants of From the River to the Sea at a pro-Palestinian rally is an advisor to the police on their response to protests over the Israel-Hamas conflict, the Telegraph can disclose. Atik Malik, a solicitor who has also railed against global censorship by the Zionists, was present in the police operations room during protests last month. A video uncovered by the Telegraph shows Mr. Malik instigating chants of From the River to the Sea, Palestine will be free in 2021, a slogan described by Downing Street as deeply offensive to many. The disclosure of his role is likely to further embarrass the Metropolitan Police after weeks of criticism of the force's handling of protests at which officers took no action in response to a call for jihad. It comes after the Telegraph revealed last week that Mohammed Kosbar, a prominent mosque chairman who praised the founder of Hamas, had been advising the Crown Prosecution Service as part of a scrutiny panel on hate crime. Hate crimes need to go, folks. They need to go. They're an absolute pimple on our backside and they need to go. It's nonsense. This is what has brought us. This. Consultations with a man who praised the founder of Hamas. For the love of God, have we as a civilization lost the plot? The CPS is now understood to be carrying out an urgent review of the panel's membership. Oh, really? The panel shouldn't exist. In other developments, ministers have urged regulators to crack down on extremist and hateful remarks by doctors, nurses, charities, and academics. The Metropolitan Police said 11 arrests were made at pro-Palestinian protests in central London on Saturday. Robert Halfon, the university's minister, said the Telegraph told the Telegraph of an invisible ghetto forming on campuses as a result of Jewish students feeling afraid to participate in everyday life. The Metropolitan Police indicated that it could try to ban a protest planned for Armistice Day and will keep the event under review. Hamas put wounded terrorists on a list of those trying to flee Gaza, delaying the escape of foreigners from the territory. This newspaper can reveal that Mr. Malik is chair of the London Muslim Communities Forum, which is described on a dedicated page of the Metropolitan Police's website as a strategic advisory body for the Met. Among its formal objectives are to inform and help shape police policy and procedure at a strategic level. In this capacity, Mr. Malik was invited to observe the Metropolitan Police's response to protests from the force's operations rooms in Lambeth, South London, last month. Senior officers in the operations room, overseen by the Gold Commander, responsible for policing each march, have been making decisions about whether particular chants or behaviour constitute criminal offences. Mr. Malik's position as chairman of the body is not publicised by the Metropolitan Police. It's understood that the Metropolitan Police does not routinely vet advisors.
What's going on is global censorship by the Zionists.
What's going on is global censorship by the Zionists to silence us. That's him. That's what he's saying there. Articles in the Dubras, all right? Suella Braverman, the Home Secretary, has warned that the River to the Sea chant may be understood as an expression of a violent desire to see Israel erased. She has asked police to consider whether its use in certain circumstances may constitute an offence, but the force faced criticism for taking a contrary view. Anybody see him out of the mat? Anybody see him being interviewed by that left lunatic? Anybody see it? A senior Tory expressed disbelief at Mr. Malik's role, saying it raised serious questions. The senior Tory said, "Does the Met really have to be seen to be associated with people who are chanting what are demonstrably anti-Semitic slogans?" Mr. Malik is a criminal defence solicitor based in Luton who has attended previous pro-Palestinian protests as a legal observer and has uploaded videos to social media advising thousands of followers of their rights at protests in recent weeks. He has appeared on the television programme 24 Hours in Police Custody when he became known for advising clients of their legal right to state no comment. He has been involved in a series of legal cases against police forces, including the Metropolitan Police. He has also repeatedly called for Prevent, the government's counter-extremism scheme, to be scrapped. The Metropolitan Police declined to give details of any advice that Mr. Malik might have provided in recent weeks, but his presence in the Lambeth operations rooms is likely to cause particular concern, given that Metropolitan Police have said that it was in that room that its officers were making decisions about whether particular behaviour is illegal. I don't know what to say to you. A video uncovered by this newspaper shows Mr. Malik addressing a protest in Luton against an earlier Israeli offensive in Gaza in May 2021. On the steps of Luton Town Hall, holding a microphone, Mr. Malik stated, "We go on BBC, ITV, do we see any of this? No, we don't. You watch Sky News, do we see this? No. Even on social media, what we're seeing is the posts are going up on Insta, LinkedIn, Facebook. They're getting deleted. What's going on is global censorship by the Zionist, global censorship to silence us." He ended his address by instigating chants of "From the river to the sea," encouraging those at the rally to respond with "Palestine will be free." There's a lot more to the article. Go and read it. I'm just honest to God, I despair. Honest to God, these, when we get down to addressing all this, right? When we get down to addressing all this, hate crimes are going to be in the centre of it, right? When we get down to addressing all this on the legal side rather than the education or others, right? The concept of the hate crime has to go. It has to go. It is a nonsense, right? It is a nonsense. It should never have come into being in the first place. Never. Right? So what essentially it becomes is this, right? Now, I've been a victim of what might be called a hate crime when I've been beaten, right? Part of the course in those days, right? So didn't exist the idea of hate crimes. Let's say somebody beats me up, smacks me about a bit, calls me a fag, right? Whatever they call me. Yeah? The fact that they've called me a fag will get them a heavier sentence. That's not how it should work. The fact that that man thinks like that is getting him sentenced to jail. The fact that the guy thinks like that is getting him sentenced to jail. Is it me, or is that thought crime? We know what he thinks, that's why he beat me. We know what he thinks, that's why he beat me up. Doesn't need to be a specific rider. Our ability to deal with violent men who are recidivists, right, is pathetic anyway. We don't need a hate crime, Ryder. Hate crimes need to go. Full stop. End of story. Let's start dealing with violence properly. And let's start dealing with the rhetoric of violence properly. And let's extend prevent into the arena where we now understand it is different from when it first came about. That actually the kind of propaganda we're seeing from people right across the board, whatever it may be their cause is deeply rooted in everything from their websites to their videos. And the Met Police are going to have to start doing some investigating. Go right back to the root. Look at what's being said. What is their philosophy? It's the ideology of hatred we must deal with. The ideology of the toxic parent who wants to control everything. The ideology of we will tell you how to live your life. And I don't care what the ideology is. It doesn't matter to me. It all needs to go. We don't sit down and sup with the enemy. We leave them in the gutter. That's what we do. And the enemy is authoritarianism and totalitarianism in whatever format it comes. I sincerely hope that the government will act on this quickly. Go well.